All right. What a night. Astros win. My dog's pumped to see me. We've been out all night, so my dog wants to join me for the show. Astros get the dub. And I got to tell you, this was one of the more eventful games that I can remember when it comes to just emotions of an Astros game. You were already kind of tense with Verlander going out there. The Astros score one run in the top of the first, and then boom, Kyle Schwarber hits a solo shot, and you start wondering, oh no, is Justin Verlander going to do it again? He's going to do it again. And it was a roller coaster ride. It wasn't pretty. You're not going to look at Justin Verlander's outing and say this is, the best outing of his career or anything like that. But for a guy who clearly didn't have it, for a guy who, I don't want to question his mental toughness, but there had to have been a lot going through his mind at the time. That was a gutsy-ass performance by Justin Verlander. And if this is the final time that we see Justin Verlander pitch in an Astros uniform, I think he did himself very, very well, and he gritted that one out. And he gave it to the bullpen. And again, that was kind of a roller coaster ride as well. But the bullpen got the job done. Still don't know what the hell's up with Ryan Stanek. He was warming up early in the game, and then late in the game, he's not even an option. But the Astros get the W. Got to keep an eye on what's wrong with Yuli Gurriel. That was kind of scary. Although Mancini did make a huge, huge play in the eighth inning to get them out of that situation. And the Astros get the win, and the Astros have arguably their best pitcher on the mound. I guess, can I say tomorrow? No, it's not midnight yet. On Saturday with a chance to win the World Series.
Yeah, Landry, when I was in the loop earlier in the day and we teased that segment about me being so confident in Justin Verlander and how this was going to work out and they were going to be able to take it back to Houston with Justin Verlander giving them that lead, this wasn't exactly the performance I had in mind. Like this isn't what I was talking about. And I'm going to be honest with you, when Schwarber hit that home run, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous about it. Not nervous to the degree of let's pull Justin Verlander and let's panic about it. But I was starting to think a little bit about the issues that he was. The Schwarber home run was out of the zone. It was a high fastball. Schwarber just did a good job of getting to it. But Verlander, like you mentioned, did not have his best stuff in this game. He walked four. It just seemed to be a laborious type of outing. But at the same time, all he does is give up that home run. And he's getting out of jams. He is just fighting and battling. And it's really all you could really ask for in a situation like that, especially given the fact that the Phillies had touched him up before and had seen him well before. So I give a lot of credit to Justin Verlander. I thought this was important more than anything. The reason why I thought that they needed this is because of what the opportunity represents. It means that Framber Valdez can close this thing out for you in 6, and you can avoid the Game 7 scenario of having to figure out how you're going to manage a Game 7. If that's going to be now, that's obviously not still out of play, right? Like you could actually lose this game with Framber, but this is the best case scenario, the thing that you were hoping for and looking for, an opportunity to close the series out with your best pitcher on the mound, or at least your best postseason performing pitcher in Framber Valdez. They needed this, and they got it from Justin Verlander. And the point you mentioned about the bullpen as well, I thought it was interesting the way that it was managed, because if Verlander doesn't get past Rhys Hoskins in maybe the third inning, I'm forgetting which inning that is, but he strikes out Rhys Hoskins in a scenario there where it seems like it's falling apart. That's when Stanek was warming up, and when Stanek was going to come in, he gets out of that jam. And they're going to have faith in him to reset, to, have a reset in a clean inning. And he figures it out. And then from there,
in the second inning, man. And there was already talk like, are you going to get him out of here? That was in the second inning. When he breathed, you could breathe a little bit. He struck out Hoskins.
Yeah. And he got out of that. And that's part of what makes this performance like really, really good, is because he has some moments where he's shaky, and then he gets out of it with a strikeout like that, and then they trust him to come back in there. So, I mean, that was, and that is what eventually eliminated Stanek, because you fast forward throughout the game and they like their matchups, but their matchup sheet or matchup, what is it that Dusty calls it? The card, the sheet, the matchup sheet.
I don't know.
They like their matchup sheet a little bit better once it got a little further on in the game with, did they come in first with Neris? I think they came in first with Neris, and
yeah, they came in first. They came in first with Neris, and that's where the matchup sheet got a little bit weird, because Neris gets 2 outs, but then they bring in Abreu, and Abreu hits the first batter he faces. He hits Marsh, and then he gets Schwarber to ground out, and then in the 7th, he should have struck out the side. He strikes out the first 2, and then Bryce Harper checks his swing, but he clearly went around. The umpire doesn't call that, and you just wonder if that's going to bite him, but he ends up getting Harper out, and they get out of that inning. So Abreu gets you 4, and then you start to wonder, what's next? How are they going to get these remaining outs? And they end up scoring an extra run with some insurance, and then it gets really interesting with Montero, to where Presley has to come in and get 5 outs, Mariano Rivera style, and kind of bail you out. Ryan Presley, I mean, it was kind of a roller coaster at times this year. There were times where he looked incredible. There were times where he wasn't available at times because they had to rest him or whatever. And then there were times where there was a little bit of shakiness. That sumbitch has been Mariano Rivera in this postseason, and I'm not using that lightly. I mean, he's coming in and getting in multiple innings. He is slamming the door, and he is pitching as good, if not better, than he ever has. And he's given them not just the 9th; he's given them a lot more than that.
Oh no, I'm old enough, Landry. I'm old enough to remember when folks were having concerns about his velocity dip. His velo dip was a concern and a talking point at one point. I'm old enough to remember that with Ryan Presley earlier in the year, or when he gave up that hit to Aaron Judge, and it was like, oh, they need a new closer. Ryan Presley's cooked. And it's like, man, can a dude not throw like one bad pitch in his life? It felt like we gotten spoiled by Ryan Presley over the last couple of years. And even I should say the last few years, even before, like when he was a setup man, when Osuna was still here, he was an All-Star his first year here then, and then assumes the role as closer after that. And I feel like we kind of got spoiled by him, because anytime he'd have a bad outing, it was like, well, what's wrong with Ryan Presley? Because you're so used to him being like he was tonight. So, yeah, but the whole matchup thing, like Abreu, the reason why they brought in Abreu is because they decided that they like him against lefties better than they like the actual lefty that they put on the roster, which is what's confusing about it. Like, it's cool and all, and it would look less silly if Abreu doesn't hit the first guy that he faces, but you're going against Marsh, and they do that on purpose, obviously. Go Marsh, turn the lineup over to Kyle Schwarber so you can get the lefty matchup. That's their quote-unquote lefty specialist now. He is what Phil Maton was last year and what Will Smith would ideally be if he didn't suck. So I mean, that to me, I actually thought that the way the pitching was managed was actually really good. And I think Dusty actually deserves some credit for, because as strange as it seems, once you kind of understand the breakdown in the matchups, it makes a lot more sense. And that's why they pulled Neris in the middle of, like, otherwise you're like, okay, Neris should be fine. His splits are the exact same. Like, if you look at his opposing batting average against righties and lefties, it's the exact same. Brian Abreu just happens to be a lot better against lefties. Man, so I mean, that's all it is.
I mean, the baseball nerds look really smart because they love the hell out of Brian Abreu for a long time. Like a long, long time. And I mean, he's just, it's really actually kind of incredible what he does. The dream scenario here, and I don't want to sit here and, act like I don't want to act spoiled because you just took 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia, but I would be very for my blood pressure and for my nerves. I just don't want a game 7. I don't want that. I had that in 2019. It sucked. Still mad at AJ Hinch for that. Anytime we bring that up, it just really kind of ticks me off. And I don't want Dusty to be in a situation where he has to, figure out what his loyalty is, and
I mean, we shouldn't even be having that kind of conversation though. Like at this point, it's got to be like loyalty. Think about it, Dusty. Like a Dusty Baker, I hope.
I mean, who do you think he's starting in a Game 7? Because I think he's going McCullers.
I do too, but I'm just saying, like, I wish he'd have some loyalty to his damn self, because he's the one whose damn legacy is on the line. I don't think his legacy is on the line, but this is the thing that would complete.
No, it is. I mean, it is. I mean, the ultimate one. I mean,
that is the ultimate one. I think he's going to always still be respected, but this is the only thing that he's missing. I think it's fair enough to say it's the only thing that's missing from his resume.
Yeah, and he just needs to avoid. I mean, I just think he needs to avoid the Game 7. And I mean, he's got the right guy on the mound. I don't think Framber Valdez is too worried. I'm not, maybe this is dangerous. I'm not really worried about Framber Valdez anymore.
Nah, I'm
past that.
I feel like we were trying to talk you down off that ledge during the year too, but maybe you just needed to see it. Like, some people have to kind of prove it to you. And Framber Valdez, for all of the reasons that we mentioned in previous shows, the sports psychology angle, admitting that he lets his nerves get the best of him, admitting that, sometimes he has to take a moment. I mean, it happened in the World Series last year. I think that kind of got us a little bit, but Framber's the best thing that they got going for him. Yeah, man. Like, what would you do? Because to me, I feel like with the McCullers thing, we know, like, I don't think either one of us would go McCullers, but we know he's going to pitch. But to me, I feel like I can stomach it a little bit better, Landry, if the leash is just a lot shorter. If you treat it, don't treat McCullers like you treat McCullers. Treat it like a bullpen game. First sign of trouble, go to Hunter Brown, go to Jose Urquidy, go to Cha-Cha. Like, if it's got to be that, and I'm not advocating for it, to be clear. Like, I don't have to see McCullers in Game 7, but if you're gonna do it, if you got to do it, I just feel like the leash needs to be a lot shorter than it was in Game 4.
I just don't. I don't even want to think about it right now. But I just don't see how you send McCullers back out there.
Hey, check this out. So, and I think you mentioned this, Landry. It turns out Trey Mancini can play first base. Like, I'm way past the advocating for more Mancini at bats and appearances, but there was a time during the season, not too long after they traded for this guy, when it seemed like they couldn't figure out a way to play this guy in the field. Feel like this guy is a Major League Baseball player who can't play apparently first base and left field. And it turns out, lo and behold, Trey Mancini can play first base. I'll be damned.
Now, did Dusty say anything? Did Dusty say anything about Yuli? I was in the Texans locker room, so I didn't get to hear what Dusty said.
I have not seen anything about Yuli yet. All I've seen was a mention of, oh man, what even was it? Either way, so that is something to keep in mind, though, just to kind of set that up again. Yuli was that, I think that was the 7th inning. Yuli's on third. There's a ground ball. He breaks for home, gets caught in the rundown. And then JT Realmuto, I guess it was, his knee. It looks like Yuli actually got hit twice, like kind of in the neck, top shoulder area. And then at the end of that, he gets a knee to the back of the head. And so, and they had a couple of shots of him on the broadcast, kind of holding his head in the dugout. It was really really awkward to see him sitting there like that, clearly in pain and in distress. So that's something that we definitely need to be monitoring. I have not seen anything about Yuli though. Okay, Dusty says Yuli Gurriel's day-to-day, his right knee is sore and he was kneed in the head, the part that we saw. So he's got a sore right knee in the head. Dusty officially says that he's day-to-day. That's from Julia Morales of AT&T Sportsnet. Okay. So yeah, obviously something to monitor, something big you might be seeing, depending on how serious it is with Yuli or how serious it ain't. You might be seeing a little bit more Mancini.
Yeah, and well, it was pretty good today. I mean, that was a big play in the 8th inning. So,
Two big defensive plays, Mancini in the 8th, and then Chas McCormick obviously in the 9th. Who was it? I think maybe it was Show who asked me earlier in the day, like, do I think they're going to go get a center fielder in the offseason? I mean, they might, but I'm good for Chas, man. Good for Chas, like emerging toward the end of the year and like being that bona fide center fielder, and they can stop dicking around with the center field spot. Good for him. Hell of a play in the 9th inning, saving the game.
Maldonado, I mean, Dusty not pinch hitting for Maldonado in the 7th inning, bottom of the 7th, with a runner in scoring position is just, it's mind boggling. I mean, Dusty's very lucky that he has the team that he does that's able to bail him out, because I just can't understand why in the hell Maldonado's hitting in that situation.
Which inning was it?
7th.
In the 7th? Yeah. I don't know, man. Did he get a hit today, though? I feel like
Maldonado
he got a hit today.
Get a hit today?
Yeah, I think he did get a hit.
Good for him.
Yeah, I think he did get a hit. You know, you got to celebrate that. No, that's him getting the hit is him getting the batting title. So you got to celebrate that. It's the equivalent to a batting title.
And it's been a long ass day, dude.
Yeah, man, it's been crazy. Like, I can't believe. How about the experience of this though? Like in the press box, I know you were watching this in the suite with some of our other Odyssey folks, but bro, how about we get all of this information talking about what they're gonna do? Remember how the Texans told us all of what they're gonna do to show the game all around the stadium and give all of these damn updates? And they got all them damn TVs in the press box, and every last one of them was on Amazon Prime. Or Prime Video, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Man, I heard someone tried to turn it and they just said, nah.
Bruh, you know what? I didn't even have it in me to ask, because I felt like if they don't know, like they know what it is. They know what time it is. If they don't have it on there, that's got to be on purpose anyway. So yeah, man, I'm sitting up there watching on my phone. I went to my car at halftime because my damn phone had died, just so I could make sure I was still watching the game. Shit was rough, man. Shit was real rough. What they did not tell us in all of that information about how they was going to help everybody else watch the game was that they was going to make it hard for us to watch it in the press box.
Man.
So, but
how many people were in that bitch? Because I went down to the locker. I mean, I still did everything. I did the post-game interviews. I did the tailgates. I did the show today. So, you know, this is the first time I've been home. But I didn't go in the press box, like where like the news people just was no one there or what?
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw the most usual of suspects as far as beat writers that you could think of. So like beyond that, so I didn't see any of the TV people except some of the secondary anchors. I don't really want to call them out like that, you know, but like none of the main guys that you know.
No, I mean they know who the A anchors are. The Greg Baileys, the Mackle,
right. Yeah,
well, and Berman's in Philly, right? Yeah.
Of course. Matter of fact, I just saw his live shot on Fox 26 right before we jumped on. But I'm gonna be honest, some of them secondary cats' names I'd be forgetting, so that's probably the other reason. But like just the writers, the DJ Bieniemys and Brooks Cabanas and Jonathan Alexander's, Cole Thompson, Cody Davis, cats like that was in the press box. But other than that, man, I saw our guy Stoops, you know, but for the most part, man, like it was this way. So I mean, you were up there Sunday for the Titans game where all the news anchors was gone, all of them. Like that whole front row right below us is all full of TV people. It wasn't a soul there. There was one person there that I can remember, and it was Nate Griffin, former Sports Radio 610 weekend host, current Fox 26 morning show reporter, Nate Griffin on the front row. That was it. That was all I saw.
It was just Nate?
Just Nate. And the only reason why he was there was because Mark was in damn Philadelphia. And they had to have somebody cover the Texans game. That's the only I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure of that. So yeah. It was an empty press box. That's not true. It's not an empty press box. It just wasn't a lot of the usual suspects from Texas press corps. I did see Steve Smith. I saw Steve Smith, and I was careful to watch
Carolina. Steve Smith.
Yeah. I saw him in the food line. I was careful to shut my mouth and not say nothing too smart, because the last thing I need
he'll jump on you like a damn trampoline. That's a dude that can just talk some crap, man.
Yeah, I didn't need that in my life.
I just did beat up his teammate before, so
yeah, or at least once. I kind of just gave him the head nod and was like, just kind of gave him the, I didn't want to offer too much more than that, because say I say the wrong thing by accident, he's easily offended too. I feel like you can easily say the wrong thing, and he's got
kind of, and this is a lack of a better term, he's kind of got like a little bit of I don't want to call it little man syndrome, but he does have like a chip on his shoulder. I think his size gives him a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, but it's got to just be the height though, because and that was another thing. I was a little surprised. I'm 6 feet tall. He's not quite my height, but he's not that far off. And he's built. He's always been built. So like he's not actually even a small person. He's small by NFL standards, but by like regular human standards, it's not like he's even a little dude. Like there were far smaller guys in the press box today than Steve Smith. I'm just like, yo, what's with the little man's complex, man? You out here kicking ass. Yeah, the official word on Yuli Gurriel, this is from our own Adam Spillane, is that he left tonight's game due to right knee discomfort. So yeah,
he damn near did. He damn near did the damn splits.
Yeah, and bent that knee back pretty bad. So
yeah.
So no. But the good thing I feel like is that they're not. It doesn't seem like they're harping on the head thing, because I was worried about that. He was holding his head. They had a shot of him holding his head in the dugout, and obviously we see the shot of him getting the knee tapped to the back of the head like that. So hopefully that's not the knee. If the knee is the worst of it, we'll probably take that. So.
Man, I'm gonna go do my my little locker room thing, but what a night, man. What a great night, actually. If you're in the like lose to win type of thing, this was probably one of the best nights that Houston fans could expect.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I feel like you needed it. Like you absolutely needed it, because again of what it represents. It gives you that opportunity to avoid the game 7. You feel like obviously if you lose this game, the only way to win it is in 7. And so you're even going into 6, in the back of your mind, you're relying on Lance McCullers, or if not Lance McCullers, you're relying on Dusty Baker to make a different decision, and what that decision might be, which I don't think either of which we feel great about. A, Lance McCullers in that situation, or B, Dusty Baker having to come up with a solution to that. Yeah. Like I prefer it just be go out there and let Fromber shove and bring that bitch home.
That's it. All hands on deck, man. A little cha-cha, a little all that.
Hey,
get it going.
Hey, Charles, I'm with you. Stros and 6. There you go.
All right, man. I'll holler at you. If y'all want to keep staying up, locker room super post game show coming up. So
yeah, sports. I'm not gonna make it because I got edits to do, man. I got Landry Locker's observations y'all can check out on sportsradio610.com. As soon as I finish with them bad boys, I'm running the restroom and then I'm gonna finish that up. And y'all check us out. Locker room, sportsradio610.com.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Later, man.
Drink some coffee. I know I need to tell you later. Get you a puff too. Later. See ya.